Okay, here's our July 19th Environmental Board meeting. We just had the Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome. So we'll pass on the minutes for now. And then I just wanted to share briefly the June 29th electric refuse truck webinar was pretty well attended. I think they had over 30 people in the live session, and then there were about 58 total registrations, including around Pennsylvania. So we had quite a good turnout. A lot of interest. I know Upper Dublin talked about trying to see if they could get a demo truck. So I know there was a little bit of interest shown that way. So Joy Berge said Springfield Township said she would keep us informed if there's any more movement on that. So I thought it was a good discussion coverage. I think initially it's going to be a little bit of a sticker shock for most townships, but he showed that there is a good return on investment after 5 years, and it all depends on how many routes and stops you have. So you can. One neat thing is they have this phone app that you can run in your current vehicles, and you can record your routes, and then the app can be used to help them figure out the payback of the new truck. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So there's a link there if anybody's interested in the recording or presentation.
Bill, I just wondered, when we talked about this in the past, the concern with electric refuge trucks was actually that our township uses them also as plows, right? They're multi-purpose. And I thought, we didn't do that research. I don't know. I don't remember who from the township was looking at, if that was Chris or who that was, but that they didn't think that the capacity or power or something with the electric vehicles that was out there would serve as plows as well. Did he? I just wonder if they talked about that, if anybody brought it up.
Yeah, actually, they did get that question. Abington is also interested in that combination, and it turns out they are using it. Their first deployment is in Brooklyn, and the New York City Refuse Department also use it for plow. So they do have a mount on the front of the vehicle for a plow, so they can be used in joint purposes. So yeah, that turned out to be a good finding, that this truck can support both.
Was that part of their financial return analysis, or
I don't know if that was included in the cost benefit. I don't know exactly what went into that calculation. He had a spreadsheet, and most of his payback was maintenance savings, electric cost, current fuel cost, and maintenance, vehicle investment. So he didn't go into it in a lot of detail. He said that if anyone was interested in the evaluation, to contact him. So I know that they are interested in helping people understand how the payback works, but I don't remember if the actual plowing part was included in that.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I imagine the township's going to want to try EVs and some other service utility before they would jump into a refuge truck. But it's interesting to just hear about how the technology is advancing and addressing the needs, right? So that's cool.
Yep, just adding to our awareness of the possibilities of the future. So yeah, we'll keep our eyes on that as that gains any more momentum. Just a note that Lower Gwinnett joined Ready for 100 at the end of June. So now we've got 18 of 62 municipalities in Montco, 48% of our county population. So I'm looking for a couple more to get us over 50%. And then hopefully we can start advocating for even more support for renewable energy. The presentation to the council went well on the 5th. I don't want to toot my own horn, Lynn, but I thought we got good feedback, and I thought there was good discussion. It was nice that Farron Savage was on the phone, so he did answer quite a few questions, which I think was really helpful because that didn't leave council, wondering anything about, what they were concerned about.
I would agree, Bill. I think both you and Farron did a good job. I think, council is, I would say generally supportive. I think there will always be the need to feel like we're going to do diligence on this, and we're going to ask lots of questions, make sure we know not only enough about the topic, but how people are going to respond and react to it.
Yep.
But I think you did a good job putting information out and generating some conversation.
Yeah, so it went pretty well that way. We did get the communication too that just got mailed. I just talked to Kellen today. He believes the mailing went out today, so they should be showing up in the residential sewer bills this week. And then we have a link to our questionnaire. So if we get any, we can start watching for any new comments since our last batch that we did in earlier. I also talked to Kellen about the possibility of sending another commercial mailing, and I thought that we can look over the commercial support pages that some of these other sites have, just to kind of create a model for what we might want to have on a Plymouth Township web page to show people what they can find in terms of supportive information. I found these two links actually do show compliant bag vendors. I think that's something that commercial businesses would be interested in. So they just supply a list of vendors that carry substitutes, and so I think we could model having a support page like that. I guess the question is, how many of us need to replicate this information for each of these munis in the area? But it probably doesn't hurt. And how do you keep this up to date? But that's an example from West Goshen. Here's an example from Philadelphia. So we could develop. So I was thinking for this mailing, we could have a one pager that would have a link to the questionnaire, and actually we could tailor a new questionnaire for just the commercial businesses because their questions might be a little bit more specific to their needs, and say, here's some examples of suppliers, a bag supplier, alternate bag suppliers, and then also ask about, what kind of stock they have, how long it takes them to work through their stock, things like that. Maybe we could ask in a questionnaire format and see if we get some feedback from commercial businesses, because I know council expressed some interest that we make sure that the commercial entities get contacted with this. So I'll draft something up unless somebody wants to work on a draft questionnaire for us.
Sorry, you say questionnaire. This is to go to the businesses. Could you repeat what you said? I'm not quite following what.
So I'm thinking we had this communication to the residents to kind of describe what we're doing.
All right.
And this is the update that since the last change in April, this is saying, what we found so far. So I think, this was what we mailed to commercial businesses in April also, but I'm thinking that rather than making it a residential focused survey, that we actually ask questions that would be more appropriate to businesses, and then give them, these two links of compliant bag vendors, and say, do you have any questions about your ability to acquire alternate bags, what's your typical, inventory, of bags that you currently carry,
Yeah, I'm following now. Okay.
stuff like that, just to give them a chance to be felt like we're focusing on their needs rather than just the commercial or just the residential needs. So I think that'd be the focus. We could say, we sent you a mailing in April. We're just following up to give you a status of where we are. We could say this is some of our update. And then we could say, we've also found that many of the municipalities are setting up pages for businesses to answer their frequently asked questions. Here are some examples of those types of pages. Do you have any questions about this study and any feedback? And then we could, just take whatever open-ended comments they provide. And then do you want to keep informed, or, give us your information to keep informed? Hey, welcome, Mike. If you're there, Mike, you're on mute. So we had drafted an article. I know we emailed it in, but I haven't heard back yet what council or the township decided. Do you know, Lynn, what they ended up doing with our article proposal?
Yeah, so the council agreed. Karen Weiss had asked if the council would approve, or if we were interested in having the consultant, like there's a communication consultant who can draft materials and articles. So she was asked to weigh in, and she prepared something that council had a chance to react to. So the other day, a couple of council members gave feedback to the article. Karen pushed it back out to the group today with some modifications. And at this point, she's just waiting for everybody to kind of weigh in and react to what appears to be the final product from our communication consultant. So I did ask Karen, as soon as everyone weighed in, to let us know, because I know you're all interested in seeing that as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
And then I had sent a request to put a news item up on the township website with a link to our communication too. So that'll give us one more exposure to anyone who catches the website to get any more feedback. And then I thought, as soon as that news item is posted, and then I'll ask IT to post it on Facebook for us and see if I can get it maybe posted to the community center Facebook, just for additional exposure. Hey, Ben.
Hey, everyone.
How was the game? How was the game?
It was hot. Glad to be back inside.
Very hot out there, isn't it?
I'm between jobs, so I don't have a working video computer right now. So I'll just be on audio today.
That's fine. I'm just showing the agenda. We just started talking through the plastic bag bans agenda items. I got to item number 4. Said that once the township news item is posted, we'll also push it out to the Facebook sites. Lynn just don't let us know that Karen Weiss had sent the article around for a second review today, and they're waiting, for council to finish their last comments on it, and then they'll share it with us, and we can see what's going to be posted. So do you recall, Lynn, any dates for when the fall newsletter is usually distributed or published?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that date is. And Karen also asked where we wanted, what other mediums we wanted to use to post that, whether, Times Herald or, other local places to post. So I know that's also under discussion. But I could find out what that date is if you'd like.
Yeah, we can talk about news articles. So then I thought, in terms of just seeing what other townships have done, I linked to their pages that they have for their plastic bags information, just to give us an idea on how to organize our public presence. So I guess, we could draft up based on those models, a proposal for Plymouth to say, could we have a web page added that would contain, some basic information and figure out of these, which, what piece of information do we want to include? So, anyone interested in researching that a little more for us? Or coming back with a proposal?
Or are these ones different than what you had up before?
Yeah, these two.
Bags, stuff.
Yeah, these 2 pages here are actually the bag supplier inventory supply. So I was speaking to these 2 specifically for the business outreach communications. I guess that's this communication that we'd want to draft, to be drafted.
Could you bring up maybe the Philadelphia one or something? Is it other Q&A on like how to comply, or what are those websites? Providing?
Yeah, so if I go to Westchester, let's see what that one looks like. So here they have a page called single-use plastics. Let me see if I can expand this a little bit. So it's got kind of their overview. It's got resources for businesses. So they actually have their ordinance posted. They have a shortcut flyer on it, an FAQ. And then talk to some business questions. And then here's some other information. So they kind of promote a different way of engaging their businesses. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could have a site like this on our township website, right?
yeah.
I mean, we already have a lot of those materials. I don't know what the FAQ has. That's what I was kind of interested in. And it's interesting. They've got an application for waiver or whatever there I saw before you. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so here's this is the exemption process. If there's a unique challenge to my business, can I be exempted? So they apparently have a way for somebody to apply to say, hey, I don't think I can meet the requirements, and then they get an exemption. And then this is that sustainable storefront. So they actually try to incentivize businesses that are doing more to reduce waste, and they give them a sustainable storefront recognition program. So these are just examples. We may just start off with the basics to get some basic information out. But I think this is useful to come up with a proposal so that council has time to review it. In time for the public meeting, so that we can at least have that ready. So they can be prepared to look at it. So here, let's look at Philadelphia. So here's their page about the process. They go into the actual timeline. And then they have some ability to subscribe to it. They have some articles, as each of them were released. So those are
So,
press releases.
Bill, I mean, it seems like all the ones with the websites are municipalities that have already passed an ordinance.
Yeah, so I was thinking the proposal for the page might be preparatory for the public meeting, you know, in the sense that we ought to have the draft web pages, you know, drafted and reviewed by council so that when the public meeting takes place, you know, this can say, you know, based on the feedback from the public meeting, you know, once the ordinance is adopted, this would be the information that the public would need to know, or the commercial businesses would need to know. So I think it could serve two purposes. One would be, you know, educating people on plastics, and the other would be to be prepared for when the adoption occurs.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I agree. Even just the educational step would be good. I just, but obviously we don't have the web page development capability per se. I don't. We work with Brandon or who on this, and
Yeah, I think, yeah, maybe what we could do is we could mock up the contents in a Word document, just kind of like draft what we think the pages would contain. And then maybe, you know, when we get to that point that we would say, here's a proposal for what the website could look like, we could send that draft around to council, you know, before we actually start authoring any technical pages, you know, just to make sure that, you know, we're on the right track, that they feel comfortable with the content and what it looks like, just to give a feel for what, you know, what we're headed towards.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if. Go ahead.
Oh, no, please.
I was gonna say, I mean, I don't know when we want to get there, if we need to get there, or just yet. But I mean, I can maybe, you know, screen capture one of our township pages and kind of paste some text boxes over top of it to mock up what we think it would look like. Use the text from, you know, some of these other sites that you have as examples here to come up with what we'd want to say. Yeah.
Yeah, here's the West Goshen one. So you can see a lot of them introduce the idea, the topic, and the, you know, the ordinance. And here they kind of talk about their timeline. Then they've got the information for businesses. So here's some of that information about notification. So I think that's one thing that Farron told us that Philadelphia had done well, is they created a poster so that businesses could have this kind of on their window front to kind of say, you know, here's what information about the band. So I guess it would be each of these half pages would be an alert that they could have posted on their door, just to help make citizens aware of what's coming.
Well, I have a question. As you were scrolling through the pictures, I saw a picture that looked like some of our trash cans in some of our parks, like at the community center. And I was curious if and you probably have thought about this, but if you've thought about those plastic bags that the township actually provides for cleaning up after your pet in the parks. And I mean, I'm wondering if people will, so if we continue to provide those, if we have a plastic bag ban, yet in the parks continue to provide plastic bags for people cleaning up after their dogs. Particularly, I don't think they're like a special biodegradable bag or anything. I'm wondering if we're not going to get some flack that, you know, we're banning bags and yet giving people these. And I'm wondering if you've looked at all at that particular issue, like the bags that are being provided in the parks, and if there are reasonable biodegradable options, just so we're not sending a mixed message, since the township buys those and provides them.
Yeah, I think that pet bags are excluded. I think that HOAs and parks, that's not a defined use of a single-use plastic bag. I think the single-use plastic bags we're going after are the ones given at retail for checkout for carrying products. So I don't think there's any conflict with that. I think that pet bags are still allowed.
Okay.
It doesn't mention anything about pet bags in the ordinance. I believe it mentions specifically retail.
Yeah. I was just curious if people would feel like we're banning plastic bags in retail, yet we're providing them in the parks, like, and not a more, environmentally thoughtful option to boot. I mean, I'm wondering if there are options, if that's anything.
I think there are various biodegradables.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. The more you can work towards the biodegradable product, the better. But I don't know that that would be a showstopper. You know, if it took the township longer to get, through their stock of the pet bags, I don't think there would be a conflict with this
Fair
proposal.
enough.
Yeah, there are biodegradable pet poo-poo bags, pickup bags. I don't know. You'd have to look at the cost comparison. But I mean, something, we're not doing all bags, right? I mean, produce bags, right? The one for putting your vegetables in, there's no ban on those. So, I think, residents, people will see that it's not everything. So it may just be that these are similar, but I'm all pro looking into, better options for that we're handing out as a township. I think that's a good thing to do. And, hopefully, I don't know how much more expensive they are. Hopefully they're not too expensive, but then again, I don't know that we have that's a big piece of our budget is about providing these bags for the parks. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Thank you. Thanks for the response.
So thanks. Good questions. Yeah, we should definitely know all the types of questions that'll come up during a public meeting. So I guess once we do the business outreach and if we could maybe target that for August, maybe mid-August. So maybe we could work on that questionnaire and announcement, and pass it around through the group. Work on that. Then I guess we still have the question about how to reach the apartment tenants. And I know Kellen mentioned that they can find addresses for some of the larger apartment building owners, management companies. So we could still, draft a communication to the management companies. To post for their tenant, to distribute or post for their tenants.
And just a question about the businesses. What is the source of the list there?
So Kellen has or the township, I should say, have a list of all of the commercial entities in Plymouth that received tax notices or have to be checked for code or recycling types of contacts. So the township has a list of all the businesses that they know about. And so we're going to use that list to mail a direct mailing to those. Well, there are about 1,100 businesses.
Oh, okay, well, cool.
So, and I know, Andy, I know you volunteered for the website stuff drafting. I don't want to. Is anyone else interested in helping work on this business communication?
I'd be happy to help. Been
Cool.
here.
Cool, Ben. Yeah, thanks. I'll work with you on that. We can put together Google document and come up with something for that. Don't think it
Sounds
has to be too fancy. I'm just looking to say, here's information that we potentially see businesses being interested in. Here's some examples from a couple other munis that have posted information on substitute bags. Do you have any questions about the ordinance or any other? So that's just that kind of general open-ended type of asking for feedback, I think.
Yeah, got it. Sounds good.
Okay, any other comments, discussion on the plastic bag work we're doing? Oh, I should say there's a Southeast PA Single-Use Plastics Coalition meeting. I think in early August. I can't remember the date offhand. It might be the second or first Tuesday. It's either the 2nd or the 9th, August 2nd or 9th, I think. So this is an opportunity for the 10 or so munis that are working towards an ordinance to get together, share what's going on, where they are in their process. I've attended the last few. It's kind of a nice networking, information sharing, gathering. So if anybody's available or interested, I think it's 7 p.m. I'll send out the information about it, but it might not hurt to have a second ear if any of you are available. See if you pick up on anything that is helpful. That's either of those, I think. Okay, so then the last month we talked about asking for some grant money, and so I kind of drafted it up this way to see if we want to tweak it at all. But I thought that there is a Pico Green Region grant that actually opens up in September. So the question would be, does the township have $10,000 they can afford to allocate for that this year? So that would be kind of one request. I would ask. I would draft an email based on this to Karen Weiss, and the EAB proposes that we start working on the bicycle and walking trail plan in Plymouth. And then I could have the reference to the add reference to the to the parks appendix, the comp plan. So that would note, that there was these trails have been referenced in the comp plan, that this is something the township wants to or has on its vision board. Can we start the initial scope statement? I'm thinking that the $10,000 match with a $10,000 grant would then give us $20,000. When we hired Bob Thomas in Philadelphia trail planning to work on a $20,000 proposal, he was able to sketch out a trail from the mall to along Plymouth Road to the Butler Pike and a connection with the Cross County Trail. So knowing that, maybe what we're asking for here is not a full design, but more a conceptual routing from the community center to the mall that could be done mostly on road and existing sidewalk. I'm thinking that he could stretch the dollars to be able to maybe include, just a conceptual plan on how to get it on the road. What kind of markings would he recommend? What kind of signage would he recommend? And we could build that segment or at least sketch out that segment. It would be really a conceptual plan, and then based on when the township had money to paint, put up signs or paint the path on the road, then that could be scheduled and budgeted at some point in the future. So I thought that would be at least an initial scope statement to kind of get us to that point. And then I was realizing as I was driving off of Blue Route at Plymouth Road, that there is kind of a way you could squeeze the path on the shoulder before it opens up into the 3 lanes where people go up to the light at Germantown to turn left, center, or right. There is enough shoulder there that if it was protected, people could get to the edge of the cement abutment and then be able to come in through the what used to be the Turnpike fill yard, I guess, for their salt trucks, and get to the mall, get to the Plymouth, the old IKEA back there at the end of the lot. So that could then tie from the community center all the way to Cross County Trail on Butler Pike, conceptually, meaning if those segments were at least sketched out, then whenever the township had money to justify putting in those segments, either paint signage or protective barriers, then, they could have that in their vision statement. So that would be the first $10,000. Any comments, thoughts? Would any of you guys use it if we got from the community center to the mall?
Yeah, I think I might. Need to put some air in my tires. Bill, could you would it be possible for you to pull up a map and trace out what you were just describing?
Yeah, let me do that.
And I used to ride my bike a lot, especially going to work, to the office from my house. But since moving to the township, I haven't had that ability with the bike network. So that would be very welcome. Hence the flat tires.
Uh-huh. Let me see if this helps. So is this the mall? Yeah, this is the mall right here, right? So working back from the Cross County Trail. So here's Plymouth Road and Butler Pike right here. So the original conceptual idea was that the Cross County Trail is going to come up from the business center. So here's Germantown and Chemical Road right here, this intersection right there. So that's where it dead ends. The Cross County Trail comes from Conshohocken right here. This is the last piece of that path. So now we've got the signalized street crossings, so the people who ride buses here can get across the street on foot through the light. And then the vision for the county is working on this next piece, but one of their visions is that they would actually scope a bridge, so we wouldn't have to do the street level crossing for the trail, but there would eventually be a bridge. The bridge then would, or the trail would then come up the driveway or some way up through the hill here, and then it would use the existing corporate path or street to come back up here and come out here on Butler Pike. And then it would turn left, and this is Danella's property here on the left. And this property, actually, White Marsh acquired this property next to Jehovah's Witnesses in a recent property purchase. So, and then they acquired the Abolition Hall property. So they've got all of this land here. There's just the real estate property here, owner. This is real estate, I think, the real estate owner here. And so that property will probably be pre-stay, but so the county is working on the feasibility study to get across Butler Pike and into White Marsh. The thought was that now that this property has been acquired, this could become a trailhead, theoretically a parking area, for trail for bike use. And then the path could be drawn behind this medical center and then go along the edge of this parking lot center. And then there's actually a retention basin here for this development here. So this is below grade. So the path would have to stay up probably on the edge of the macadam. But then it could thread through this stage of trees. There's some Pico right away that would have to be acquired. And then there's a fence line for this development here, but there's enough space that the path could come out, theoretically, along the railroad, raised railroad track, but then come out here on Flower Town. And then from Flower Town, it would go up towards the KYW tower there on Joshua Road, I guess. So that's the one way that the cross county trail would go. So then we're back here at Butler Pike. So if the cross county trail crosses over near Jehovah's Witnesses right here, the idea was that we would do a bike path along the existing sidewalk here along this side of Butler Pike, thread through the Trenton overpass train bridge. Rick had gotten a sketch of an engineer's proposal for a protected bike lane, so there would be some safety stuff there that would keep the bikes protected from the cars. And there is enough space there, I think, to thread that through there. And then it would come up here, and then this was the feasibility study that Bob Thomas did for us years ago, and he sketched out that you could then come up Plymouth Road and eventually to the mall. So this is where I looked as I came around the corner here, that there is a shoulder right there. It would have to be protected, but theoretically, if you could get that protected, you could get the bike up here to this driveway. This is where everybody expands into 3 lanes. So, as long as that edge was protected, they can only be, 1 lane as they're coming in here. So they can't open up into the 3 lanes until they get past this edge anyway. So if we were able to protect that shoulder, I think that would give a reasonable way for the, bike walkers to be able to come in there and then weave up into the mall, through this area right here. Then if, depending on how you want to weave the path around the mall, it might be, safest to leave it on the outside edge and then come up, around this way and then come up here to Fountain Road, cross over, and then there is enough width on this road that you could probably have a what do you call it, signed path. Cars keep aware of bicycles, etc. There is an existing sidewalk for walkers along the majority of that section. And then it would come up to the light at Walton. And then there's a question on how much shoulder you've got on either side, whether you would be able to thread the path on one side or the other, and then come back towards the access to the park and the community center here. So either come up to this intersection and go in this way, or come on the backside of that. So that's theoretically a way that we could make a connection from the community center over to the mall and Plymouth Road. Now, to get to the East Valley Park, that's another challenge in that the one thing when we were talking to the church was trying to sell, and there was a developer that was going to, do that development, but that fell through. But theoretically, there's a access line on the edge of this property that could go between this neighborhood and this townhouse development. And if we were able to get access on the edge of that property, it theoretically could weave through there to get to East Valley Park and to the the parking lots there. The other way to go would be, there's a street right access here. Then if you come in a Harvard Road and you go up along this this neighborhood, there is one property that was never developed. So there might be, it's either this lot or there's another lot. I forget exactly where it is, but there was one lot that never got developed, and there could be a access point through there. So that'd be another way to get over to East Valley Park. And then if we were able to get permission with Pico to do the Pico right away underpass on that ground, then we could bring the path back down towards across Sandy Hill here, come back down through this section here. The developer has already been building these properties here, so there's probably still access through this open space here, and then come down to Gravers Road, come along Gravers Road, and then come around here, come around the corner, and then come under the turnpike at Gravers and Gallagher. This is my development. There's my house right there. And then you come under Gallagher Road, and this would create a loop back to the Cracker Barrel and the Cross County Trail. So that would be a nice loop path if we were able to, make the Plymouth Road to Mall to East Valley Park and then come this way. So that would be kind of a neat circuit trail for Plymouth.
Yeah, thanks.
Anybody want to ride that eventually?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Yeah. So I'll draft an email and we'll get that over to Karen. I think their budget process. Do you recall, Lynn? Is that they're getting all the department heads information in August? I think.
I think so. This will be my first time through it, so I'm not exactly clear on the timing, but I can find out if you'd like.
Yeah, I think I did ask Rick the other other week. I think he had mentioned August, but yeah, I'll try to get this. We can get this email drafted here in the next week, so I don't think that'll be a holdup for that ask. And then for next year's budget, we could ask for $40,000 to be used for the Monco 2040 grant, and that could be split between going for further trail development and or EV chargers or other environmental projects that you guys think we should start to look at. So any other questions, comments so far?
I like the way you navigate the map, Bill. It's good.
Yeah, I got used to doing that when we did the feasibility study for the Cross County Trail because we were trying to scope out how do we get through there.
Yeah, that's impressive. Well done.
Yeah, thanks.
Just one question on that. On the mall property, have we had any discussions with the mall? What coordination would be anticipated with that?
You know, I doubt anyone has ever brought this up because I don't think the township trail plan has been on council's radar, even though it got put in the comp plan and Karen Frank was the Parks Department is the kind of owner of that parks component of the trail plan. So she had actually budgeted for the feasibility study that the groups you work with, the bicycle planners who put that together in our comp plan. So I don't think anyone's actually thought that this was a active project. So it's unlikely that anyone has ever thought to bring it up. You know, it might have been something that we could have asked about the negotiations with the mall because they've been coming to the township with various proposals about putting apartments in. And, you know, so I don't know exactly where that stands. I know they got turned down because of the traffic problems. But I was thinking, you know, if we look for a transportation grant, Lynn, I don't see why we wouldn't be able to suggest that, you know, maybe a bridge could be funded through a transportation grant. And if you synced it up with this light at the bottom of the ramp off of 476, you know, and so that light is already signalized that's causing traffic to have to stop and go this direction and that direction anyway. You know, if we were able to get a bridge put over there to the mall, you know, that would give another relief point for traffic in and out of the mall. And then maybe their development, you know, of apartments or whatever could be more reasonable. And then maybe as a carrot, you know, they say, well, you help fund the bike path around the mall and put up enough money to forward a transportation grant to get a bridge built, you know, maybe that would be a worthwhile thing to propose, you know, before we lose the mall completely.
It's a good thought.
One more thought that's well, it's related and that's about bicycles, but it's not in this area. Do we know anything about the Ridge Pike improvement and whether there is going to be a bike lane installed? This would be from Belvoir to Chemical. Just a sort of a question about that, if we have any information about that project.
Yeah, I know they've got their own website for it. I haven't really studied it too much, Ben. I know there is a proposal to expand lanes and put sidewalks in where they can, but I don't think, I did attend the Turnpike presentation a couple of months ago where they were talking about putting slip ramps off of the Turnpike. It's just going to be on the westbound side. So it's going to be an off ramp from the direction coming east on this, and then it's going to be an entrance from here going west, and then it's going to junction into this Lafayette Street here. So I think it somehow loops over and comes in somewhere around here. So I was on that conversation. I know they're actually to meet the turnpike requirements. They actually have to raise this bridge over ridge. Apparently it's not to current code for the height over the turnpike. So by raising this bridge, though, it's going to impact these homes because the road surface is going to be higher than the sidewalk is currently. So there's going to be at least a little bit of, overage where the road bed is going to be above the bottom of the doors, at least at the beginning of this section of homes. But I thought I heard somebody ask about bicycle, and I'm not sure how well they've allowed for that. I can't remember anybody specifically answering that question. That would be nice. I agree. I would love to see, maybe there'll be some accommodation that if it's a sidewalk, I don't know whether you can, at least there'll be hopefully a sidewalk all the way along here that people can use. But yeah, good
Yeah, got
question.
it.
That would be nice. Oh, Mike said he would ride on any of these trails when the kids get older. Thanks, Mike. All right, so don't have anything on the Facebook or our webpage. Any other comments, thoughts from the group? Yep, I think we're in the summer heat wave here. But gosh, stay cool, stay comfortable. It's gonna be a cooker this week. I heard 105 with humidity index on Thursday, potentially. 97 direct temperature on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. So we heard about the UK suffering today. I think they hit their records, right? So we're cooking up a storm.
Stay cool.
Yeah, stay cool, everyone.
Bill, I guess you have enough people to approve the minutes if people.
Oh, that's
Reviewed
right.
them.
Let's take a quick look at that. Thanks for the reminder, Andy. Now that we've got Ben and Mike here, and June minutes. Thanks, Ben, for listening to the recording to do this one.
Mhm.
I didn't have any comments either.
Yep, looks good. I'll motion to adopt.
Second.
Andy seconds. Great. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate that. Thanks, Ben. So good work, everyone. And we'll keep the conversation going. Thanks so much, Lynn,
Thanks,
Andy,
everybody.
Mike, Ben.
Hey, Bill, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Thanks all.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.